Hi, today we are going to draw this rose. So in the beginning, and I just very roughly and made a shape of that rose. So kind of like this. So the basically like see that shape, that's that and that, right? Then goes down. And this kind of have a triangle here. See, I'm drawing on here so you can see it like I'm telling you what I see there, then why I'm drawing that. And this whole thing is here. So I kind of ignored that part, that detail. So that's what I see this rose, the overall shape of it. That's the first step, very important, okay? Because the first step is wrong, then the rest of it is wrong. If you draw this too long, right, or this too short, then the rows will look, different, right? So get the proportion right. I was looking at this as a kind of a triangle shape here, and then looking at this, and that's the whole thing of here. Then that's the whole thing. That's why I draw that. That's a kind of like triangle in the bottom. That's why I draw that. Okay, just teaching you how to look, what to look. Excuse me. Okay, then here's the next step. So that was my first step, was very roughly made like that, right? Before. Then, so after that, I'm doing the next step. This is no longer a rectangle, right? There was a rectangle. If I use let's see, the pink one, okay, to draw the previous line I did, it's more look like that, right? Now you can see what I add in here. I'm using a blue. Okay, so I have the red line I did before, so I just, add this and that and that. So that's this, right? And this and this and that. See, that's this, right? Then this part I kind of break up a little bit. It was just a right line, and I kind of break up a little bit, make it like a little like that. So that's the second step. I'm just working on that part, the detail, right? Because you already have how big you're going to draw this, then you can add detail like that. Okay, that's the second step. Then the third step, voila, it's way more complicated, right? Because I had all this right there, right? And this just very sketchy way did that. The next step, I just add more detail, which you can see it is right here, right? And this part is right here, right? And this petals, the shape of it, this more, detailed. See all the curves. There was just a straight line like that, right? And this thing here and here, then this way more detailed like that. See? It goes in, see, that goes in, goes out, curve. And curve I didn't really draw it now yet. See, that's a straight. And I'm going to do that later. Then make those lines more, detailed, how they curves. All right. Okay, that's the third steps. Okay, so I add more detail, the shape, everything. Fourth, I'm start shading. See, the first start shading, and you doing light, not too dark. So you can see all the shadow, right? See, that's the shadow here. Okay, I should not use red. So that's a shadow here, goes dark to light. That's a shadow here, dark to light, right? The shadow here, all the shadows then defined the shape of the flower. So you have a shadow here, you can see that. You have a shadow here, you can see this and this, right? You have a shadow here, you can see this and this, right? So that's what I use, the shadow to define the shape. That's what I did, look. So that's a shadow, gradually light, shadow, gradually light. So see all the shadows, but different, right? Some shadows darker, some shadows lighter, and the value has to be right. And the overall, this rose and the light is from this side, right? So overall, it's like this side is darker than that side, right? Have a, you know, remember that. So the light is from the other side. Okay, the first, then so that's the first layer. The second layer, I did this darker. I think I start when I was shading, I start with, here's my first shading. I start from here. I just go, then the second layer, I still start from here. You see that? I start from here. I made it darker, so I have more room for my lighter side. If darker side is not darker enough, you don't have room for your lighter side. Otherwise, your lighter side will get too dark, right? So that's the second layer. And I did some background because this background is pretty dark. Then to do the background, it will show you the shape. See how I did the detail, like the curve? So the curve like that. So I don't want you to be curved like this. Okay? Very mechanically. I want you to curve to look at more naturally. Some more, some less, some bigger, some small. And look at the shape of exactly how that turns, the beauty of the curve on the flower, not some curve in your head. Okay, now that's the fourth or fifth step. So I'm just keep working on the background, made all the background darker, keep working on that, and I get very light on this part too. See, because see, that's still in the darker side, those are lighter side, right? And but I didn't get it too dark because I didn't shade the some parts dark yet. Now I'm getting darker. See, that part is darker. I made it darker because that's darker too, and keep shading it and get more detail on it. And this one I'm start shading from here. See, I'm getting all the details on it. See how the curves, how that thing curves, and how that create a shadow here, how that create a shadow there, right? And how the folds and curves, I'm just getting more detail on the roses. And then this one I'm just using the dark part to create the leaves, because there was this value. See, it's more light, right? Light value. The light value is the lighter part of the leaf, It's very close to that, right? Now I'm just using, using the black. See, I'm just going to use I'm just going to use black then. I'm just using black to create the leaf. See, that's a black, that's a shape, right? So if you put it here, see, that kind of like leaves, right? Then you put it here, then that part darker, you put here, because that's a leaf. Then you put here, see, that create the kind of leaf there. Then, you know, this part that created two leaves. Then you can make this leaf a little darker. So, right? And or this leaf a little darker, and that's this leaves. That part I made it a little bit too dark. Okay. Make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, if you want to make a leaf, so it's kind of like leaves now, right? So that's what I did. The next picture is making the leaves. Now you can see it. Here you go. See how I did that? How I did that, right? That's this leaves. Just use dark to make the leaf, because those are the original color of that. Then you make it darker to make the to show the leaves. The end one I just mainly focus on the background, and yeah. So hope you enjoy. The background is not easy, so hope you enjoy to draw this rose.